Okay, on today's episode of Tremaine's Trucks How-Tos, I'm going to show you how to remove your headlight knob, bezel, and the switch that's behind the dash, along with the wiper knob, bezel, and switch that's behind the dash. Now, I've got the gauge bezel out and the steering column's dropped, mostly because this is a bare cab that I'm making the video on, but there's no need to remove any of that. Now, one thing to make note is on a 67 or 68 and some very early 69s, this is the wiper switch, headlight switch is down below. The removal install procedures are the same. Basically, the switches are basically the same, so this is all going to apply the same. 69 to 72, headlights over here, wipers over here. This applies to C10s, C20s, C30s, C40s, C50s, and C60s. So we'll get started here. I want to make a note. This video was inspired by my Instagram follower @ScottFoot, asking if I had one of these. He had to get his headlight switch out the other night, so I gave my number. He called me up. I walked him through it. Would have been a lot easier for both of us if I had a video up, but it turned out he was a really great guy from Alabama. Very appreciative of the information I gave him, and that's why I do this. I have the knowledge and the experience of this, and I enjoy sharing this with others. So thought I'd make this video. It's a pretty basic procedure for most of us that know how to do it already, and once you've done it, it's very basic. But if you don't know, you don't know. A lot of guys try to unscrew this knob off of there, thinking the knob's got to come off, threaded on, and they wind up ruining their knob and the rod, and then they're in a world of hurt. And so hopefully this will save some of you that aggravation. So the first thing we do, reach your hand up under the dash. If you've got an AC dash that all the hoses are hooked up, it's real tight. You get up under there and up on top. See my finger in there. I'll show you the button up close. There's a button. So pull the headlights to the on position. Might want to unhook your battery if you're going to be at this for a while, so you don't drain your battery with the headlights on. Push the button. It comes out with the rod and all like that. It's one piece. Should not come apart. Okay, the next step, get the bezel off. You can use some small needle nose pliers. Break it loose. There is a tool for this. I don't have it. Needle nose pliers work fine. Okay, and then you got a 5/8 hex here. Take your 5/8 hex, again, reach up underneath like this, hold the switch. Take your hex wrench, 5/8, pull the hex off. There's a washer behind it. You don't want to lose this washer. So you pull the hex off like that. Then the switch is going to drop down. It'll come down just far enough that you can unplug the wiring harness when the wiring harness is on it. So let me show you this button. This is the button right here. This is the magic button that releases the rod. See, the rod's sits in there in a clip. The button, it's got a spring on it. Boom, like that. So there you have it. Then you got your switch out if you need to replace it. Whatever it is you're doing. So we'll move on to the wiper knob. Now the wiper knob's another one that gets thrashed quite often. You want to take a little tiny screwdriver like this, and these little pocket screwdrivers. Okay, and on the bottom side of this knob, there's a little set screw. Okay. So you loosen the set screw, the knob will come off. Now this knob's thrashed. It should be flat across the top right there to match the flat on the rod on the switch, but there's your set screw right there. Okay. Again, it should be flat across the top to match this. Just make sure when you put it on, you don't force it. Get that set screw all the way out. Not all the way out, but all the way flush with the hole, and then get it on there the right way and tighten that set screw up. Quite often these are mangled to death for some reason. So again, with the bezel, get the bezel off, 5/8 wrench, loosen the nut. That comes off. This comes off. There's not enough wire when this is hooked to the wiring harness to drop this down far enough down under the dash to get the harness off. So you're going to have to get underneath the dash there and disconnect this. This one's real easy. It's a 3-prong. It just pulls right out. The headlight harness is a little different. So there you have it. Putting them back in is pretty much the opposite. You want to make note that this wiper switch, the hole is flat across the top, and the wiper switch is flat across the top. Make sure you have it in there correctly. Washer and nut on. And I'm just going to kind of loosely put this on here, not correctly. This bezel, now make note that if you're putting this on without your gauge bezel in, these chrome bezels go on after the gauge bezel, and so do the knobs. So you'd want to stop at this point, put your wiper switch in without the bezels and the knob, put your gauge bezel in, secured, and then go on to the chrome bezels. This on again. The top of this rod is flat. The top of your knob should have a flat spot. This one's well worn out. Get it on there correctly. Tighten up that set screw underneath there. And you're done. Again, this one up in, you can see it's notched, the hole. The headlight switch has a little tab that goes in the notch like that. Okay. Then the double-sided thread, the smaller of the two threads, is what goes into the switch. That's pretty self-evident. Tighten down, and again I'm leaving this all loose. The bezel on, and the knob and the rod will simply push in, lock in. If by any chance you're using your old switch over again and this doesn't lock in, just give it, don't be too forceful, give it a couple of ins and outs, maybe a little turn of how where they still come out a couple times afterwards, and it'll lock into place. So there you have it. Hopefully this has been helpful. Check out my Instagram page at Tremaine's Trucks. Follow along. I appreciate it. And again, I hope this saves someone a little time and frustration in the learning curve. Alright everybody, have a great day. Hope you get something cool done on your projects this weekend.